Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are Minions SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
DrFunctional.
Hi.
And Serenity Star 13.
Hello.
How you doing, Serenity?
I'm good. I'm just dealing with a big old baby of a dog.
Oh, look, and we have a late arrival. It's not Jack Gunski.
Skin my teeth.
Then I'd like to change my answer.
Yes, so hold on.
Arigato gozaimasu!
Let's go back to Serenity.
How would you say that?
So you're dealing with a big dog?
That's a weeb.
Yeah, he's right next to me and he's being a baby.
That's good.
Did a baby. It is.
Yeah, it's finally sprawl here in California. I mean, I know that for you the leaves change and things happen, and for us it's kind of like, well, maybe don't sleep with the window wide open at night. Oh my gosh, it's so cold I can't open the window all the time.
Doesn't most of LA sprawl?
They noticed because the calendar changed.
Yeah,
Well,
basically.
sprawl is so functional. What I say is that California has two seasons. We have summer and sprawl, which is basically a season that goes from the fall all the way through to spring. We don't.
You have
really
one
have
season,
winter.
and it's communism.
No,
There you
we have
go.
two yeah, communism.
Like I know there are good people in California. I just fucking hate the place.
No, I get it. Okay, I wasn't going to bring this up in the show, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it up.
Do it.
Oh, hold on, let me. So, you're good, right, Serenity?
Yeah, I'm good. Ask
okay.
everybody how they are, then bring it
Okay,
up.
so functional. Tell me how you were, and then I'll tell you a really quick story about what happened in San Francisco recently.
Well, now I'm pissed off because I know you're going to talk about San Francisco.
Yeah, I know. What a deal. Hi, Sora.
Is that Sora? Hi, Sora.
Hello. I'm not
She's a
late.
dog
I
with
was
an
here
overbite.
the whole time.
Absolutely.
No, I'm good. I actually wanted to say I saw a very interesting Swedish horror movie last night. It wasn't gory. It was just like psychological. The names can skip me. I forgot the name.
You said it has Swedish horror in it? Is her name Greta?
It's Pippi
She's a
Longstockings
bork,
after
a bork.
dark. Yeah. She's the strongest girl in the world. So did you find it yet, Functional?
Midsummer.
Midsommar. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird.
it was.
It's a weird.
Yeah, it's oh my god, it's very few and far between that I find a movie that I'm just like, wow, people should watch this because of something that they do or just a combination of things, the cinematography, the special effects, the most of it's shot outdoors, but even that, the lighting, everything just makes it just such a wonderful film that I'm never going to watch again. It's not one of those movies, but I watched it and I'm glad that I watched it. Check it out.
Good.
I think it's on Netflix.
It is, yeah. I think it's a Netflix movie, actually.
No, Midsummer came out in theaters.
Oh, did it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, by the
There
way,
we go.
All I know is that it was a
For
Swedish
me, I always
horror
thought it was.
movie, and I'm doing that horror movie new horror movie I haven't seen
It
once
is,
a week for October.
It is very odd. Think of Wicker Man, the original one, kind of odd.
Yeah, and you have to be careful with some online discourse because there's some people who have misinterpreted things.
Yeah.
by the way, Midsummer is geo-locked in the United States, so you got to have VPN or make other or a jet. To watch.
Completely legitimate sources, Skep. Completely.
Well, he's in
legitimate
Canada.
sources.
He's not in the United
He's in
States.
Canada. It's not geo-locked up there.
Yeah.
But Midsummer is spelled Midsomar.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Midsommar.
A grieving woman accompanies her boyfriend and his grad school colleagues to a remote Swedish village that isn't the idyllic commune it appears to be, and asks them important questions like, "How dare you?"
Yeah, basically.
Well,
The
that's
titular
part of it,
actress
actually,
is
isn't it?
the titular actress is the one who plays the sister of Black Widow in the MCU.
Florence Pugh, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It
yeah.
was
Yeah,
kind of a
the-
downer because her character, just every scene she's crying, and it's just like, oh come on.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
will
Swedish,
tell
it's
you,
a
Well,
Swedish motif.
if your goal is to sell me on a movie, using the phrase MCU is not going to sell me.
No, I'm just telling you who
Yeah, it's-
one of the actresses, and she's the titular character, and then her boyfriend is like discount Chris Pratt. It was hilarious because we were goofing on that the entire movie. But no, it was really good. I mean, if you're into movies and you can stomach a little bit of psychological horror, which is makes you very anxious. So, fair warning. I would definitely recommend that. That's Howard. Hi, Jack.
All
Hi,
right.
Sora.
Have you seen the movie? Was it Rubber? About the tire
Heard
with
of
the,
it.
Oh God.
with the psychokinetic powers.
No, but I want to see it. Not that I know of it.
I've definitely heard of it. I've watched some stuff about it, but I've never seen it.
It's totally worth checking out, honestly.
Oh my god, I love these kind of horror movies. I'll have to look it up.
It's called Rubber, and it sort of takes place in the American Southwest, and it's about a sad little tire.
Yeah.
Things aren't going particularly well for him, but then it turns out that he starts developing psychokinesis.
A homicidal car tire, discovering it has destructive psionic power, sets its sights on a desert town once a mysterious woman becomes its obsession.
It's pretty good.
This summer. 2010? I've never even heard of that. That's amazing.
If you're gonna watch Rubber, you also have to watch Black Sheep. But
I love Black Sheep. That is so fun.
Well, let's find out about Skep's day. Skep, how was your day?
It was pretty good. Once again, it involved walking dogs and heavy manual labor. But yesterday was the wife's birthday, so we had continuing celebrations on with that with the grandkids over. It's been a good day.
Oh, good. She doesn't do that birthday month thing, right? I would expect
She doesn't like birthday celebrations of any kind.
What a fine woman she is.
Yeah, and we don't buy each other Christmas gifts or birthday gifts. If we want to buy something, we just buy it. We just don't. We're not into it, and have Christmas truces with all our friends and family. Christmas truce is where you agree not to buy each other gifts. It's a truce.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Jack Gunski. How are you doing, Jack Gunski?
Not bad. Had a busy day. Stained a deck. Or helped to stain a deck. I only stained a little bit. And
what kind of wood?
Cedar.
Did you stain it or did you just treat it with oil?
Stained it.
Why would you stain cedar?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's
The guy who goes to Home Depot for fun just came out in me.
Yeah, same. What?
It's not my deck. I didn't make the decision, and I don't really care.
No, I understand.
What did you stain it with? What did you stain it with?
Some oil-based stain. I don't
Eastern
know.
or Western
like
cedar.
a natural stain? Just or like a urethane coat or a
No, it was. I don't think it was urethane. I think it was just an oil stain.
Right.
I don't think Jack really expected that would be the thing we would pick up on.
Yeah, I didn't think that I was gonna get the third degree. It's not my freaking deck,
you know. Into the invention of oil stains.
I didn't even want this stupid deck. I didn't even want this stupid deck. I have to shovel it in the winter, and it's gonna fall on me. And they decided that they wanted this deck. And I was just like, whatever, I just live here.
You're just a nice, agreeable person trying to help out.
The person who wanted the deck was the person who was least capable of actually maintaining it.
Did that person at least buy pizza? Because this sounds like a pizza thing. Okay, that is a clear foul.
No,
if you're gonna make somebody work on a deck, you gotta have
total
pizza.
shit.
Yeah.
Go back, unstain it.
Yeah,
a total crap deal.
Deck maintenance.
Yeah, that is a real.
You want to know the funniest part?
Contract.
You want to know the funniest part? I bought pizza. Today, I bought pizza while we were staining the deck.
Well, you are the power bottom of the deck world. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm the deck cuck now.
You're the deck flopper, actually. The deck flopper.
I wasn't even thinking, you know what, Harry? I wasn't even thinking like this. I was thinking, shit's just got to get done. And now all of a sudden we're drawing all this attention to my decisions up to this point, and I'm like, man, I got hosed.
Are you feeling welcome yet, Jack?
I feel miserable. Thanks for having me, Harry.
You're welcome. Hi, Sora.
Hey,
How was your day?
terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow.
We finally
I,
our weather has finally changed, so we're
Uh-huh.
in for flood weather because it's
Uh-huh.
raining, and we've had nothing but a whole week of the worst air quality ever.
Well, it should put
and,
the fires out, shouldn't it?
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
But it's in some areas the earth is so dry that everyone's like, okay, well, you were burnt out, now you're going to be flooded out, because there's no way that it's going to suck up all that rain in time to prevent flooding. But yeah, no, it caused me to have a really bad migraine, so I slept until about 1:30. So it's good.
No, you said
fun.
rain. That's where water falls out of the sky, right?
I think it's water.
Okay.
Could
That's
be
good.
acid for all I know.
Yeah. So, Functional, I was going to tell you about San Francisco because I know you asked nicely. They were going to... There was a plan afoot to build a bathroom. Not like a bathroom with 20 stalls for men and 20 stalls for women. A bathroom.
This story.
How much did
The
it
San
cost?
Francisco Chronicle found out that it was going to cost $1.75 million to install
do.
one toilet
One
and put walls
stall.
around it.
Yep.
Now, this is the thing that everybody has picked up on. Now, to my mind, the real travesty of this story is not the 1.75 millions. I've already given up on San Francisco being not corrupt and efficient. The part that amazes me is that it was going to be 2025 before it was going to be complete. Because it was going to have to go through so many different reviews and approvals and public meetings that to build a single bathroom, well, basically put in a toilet with 4 walls and a roof, it was going to take them years to do this thing. It's insane.
And
this is why they can't do
know,
anything in San Francisco.
You want to know the saddest part of all? Beyond all those meetings, there's a chance that it gets shot down. It could.
They've already shot it down because they got shamed over the amount of money.
Yeah.
Well, no, but even if that didn't happen, they could go through hundreds of thousands of dollars in the design process, and then some board, just because they need to feel useful for once in their lives, shoot it down for no reason. That I deal with that in my job all the freaking time. It's insane.
Yeah.
Well,
spending money to justify your budget.
Well, Newsom's trying to take credit for halting it. It's because one of the San Francisco Chronicle headlines is Newsom calls 1.7 million bathroom a waste, halts state money until costs come down. It's like,
good
bitch,
for you.
Bitch, you've been in the government for how long? You know the cost isn't coming down. Nice try.
Come down.
You just got caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like wearing a fleece pullover when you're telling everybody to turn their power off during a heat wave. Same thing.
Yeah, San Francisco just, I used to think that accelerationists were all crazy, and then I learned more about San Francisco. There's really no other way to fix this town other than for it to just implode. But we don't need to talk about San Francisco.
Nuke it from orbit.
It needs to go the way of Detroit.
Well, let's talk about something else. So, Scott Adams tweeted the following. What do you mean, oh dear?
I like Scott, but he tends to step in shit a lot.
Yeah, well. Do I need to make ESG go away for you? This is from July 30th. Put your ESG nightmare stories in the comments and I'll turn them into Dilbert comics. Give me 6 months. This one will be easy. Now, I am not claiming that Scott Adams is the person who killed ESG. Just that he often has his finger on the pulse of things, and it was interesting that he would actually, being in California, being very cancelable, be the person to come out and make this statement. Well, fast forward just a little bit. Dilbert author comic strip takes aim at ESG. So this is, let's see, what's the date on this?
What's ESG again?
Equity something. Oh God, why can I not remember now? Skep, help me out
Is
here.
it the
ESG?
environmental, social governance and governance?
Yes, thank you.
Environmental,
yeah.
social, and governance. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Is that
Yeah.
like
So
carbon
what they've been
tax?
doing is
Yeah.
investment firms have been forcing companies who want to get invested in by these firms, like BlackRock, has been saying, well, if you want us to invest in your firm, we need you to disclose what your environmental plans, your social plans, and your governance, this sort of stuff, all your progressive green stuff. And so they
We
would
want
force
to
people
see
to
you
put together these
invest.
reports.
Yeah.
So
So, in other
I've-
words, make your company commie gobbledygook, and we'll invest money in you.
Yeah, and the real issue with
off.
ESG is there's a whole bunch of businesses that can't possibly pass whatever these litmus tests are that the groups come up with. If you're in Texas and you're involved in petrochemicals, that just means you will not get any investment from these groups. So that's kind of a problem, because if you talk, if this were to basically sweep all of the publicly traded companies, it could create some real problems where there just wouldn't be capital being raised for some of these energy companies, for instance, and a lot of companies that do other things. Pretty much anybody who can't be progressive and green and crunchy.
This sounds a lot like a monopoly, doesn't it?
Well, the problem is that the fine people at the White House, including Joseph Robinette Biden and company, have been pushing the Securities and Exchange Commission to actually mandate that companies file this sort of stuff along with their quarterly filings. So not only is it just private companies like BlackRock, but they're trying to institutionalize this at the government level, which is something that the SEC is completely not supposed to be doing. It's so far out of their wheelhouse, you can't even see the house from where they're standing.
You can't even see the ocean that the wheelhouse of their ship is in. You can't see that ocean. It's so.
But this is
different
what
from
true
the
believers
SEC
do.
does.
They do this kind of horseshit. So,
Yeah.
Here's a sample of Scott Adams' little thing.
Excellent.
This guy, Dave, I need you to boost our company's ESG ratings, so I'm promoting you to be our CTO, Chief Technology Officer. I know you identify as white, so that won't help our ESG scores, but it would be too much trouble to identify as gay. And then the clearly black person says, depends on how hard you want me to sell it. This is just wear better shirts.
Just wear better shirts.
Yeah. And he's
So
been basically
clearly
running these
cynical.
things. He's been running these things for a while. Go ahead, Skep.
As he said when he came to speak to us at Kronos, he said, Dilbert's basically a one joke comic, and it's the same, but it's a joke motif. It's not really just a joke. It's the Dilbert paradigm. That's what he builds, and that's what he sells.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
So-
those of us who have been in the business, so to speak, know that and know how utterly true some of the things that he draws are. We've been in those meetings. We know these people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry if I misunderstood. I actually kind of thought most of you would already know about this stuff. This is the kind of waters that I have to swim in all the time, so I may have taken some things for granted. How many people here have actually heard of the ESG stuff before now?
Nope.
Heard of it?
Well, as I have started to read on it, holy crackers!
Okay.
I didn't know about it. Well, I did know about it, but this reminded me it existed, which is unfortunate because I was having such a good day.
Welcome to the minions.
Yeah. This is not the place to be if you're looking to be uplifted, Jack. So you fast forward just a little further, and this came out just a couple days ago. Get Woke Go Broke BlackRock stock downgraded over risk from ESG investing. So basically,
I did hear.
UBS
Yeah, that I heard.
has decided that BlackRock has gone so far in on the progressive stuff in terms of using progressive values as a means for making financial decisions instead of,
It's going to
I don't
get
know,
in the way
financial
of
values.
their ability to earn a living.
Exactly, that they've actually downgraded their recommendations about putting money into BlackRock.
What
So we're
idiots.
starting. So I can't say that Scott Adams is responsible for this,
I hope
but
he is.
it sure is funny to pretend that he is.
Or at least played a part, because delicious.
Well, like the thing is, like some of this ESG stuff is legitimate. Like this is what they state they're for. Like under the
Mhm.
social, it says avoids overseas labor that may have questionable workplace safety or employ child labor.
I don't care if what they say it has.
Well,
anything
I know,
to
but
do with
that's-
It's still a bacon wrapped turd. I mean, bacon's delicious, but I'm not
no,
eating it.
it's not even a bacon wrapped turd. It is anti-capitalistic processes in the making. It really doesn't matter what it is they're in it for. It's anti-capitalistic.
I
and
think
that's
Serenity
what's
was only
inherently wrong
partway
with
through
it.
a point. You said
Yeah.
some
sorry.
of what they
Like,
do. Hold
I
on, but some of what
I
they do. You said some of what they do is probably kind of valid. I believe is where you left off.
yeah, it's like it's the politician standpoint, air quote, where it's
Mhm.
like this is what the politician says, and we all know they don't actually follow it. It's kind of like they also have support LGBT plus rights. It's like, okay, but what is your stipulation on that? And do you actually support it in countries that actually will hit you with fines if you support it? No, you don't, because we know you won't. The child labor laws, well, yeah, if it's your actual company that's under your name, but everyone knows Nike doesn't use their actual Nike name in the factories that the child labor goes on. So
Mhm.
it's bullshit. It's basically, well, we as this company don't do it. The company we outsource to does, but we don't. It's I don't want to use the word propaganda, but I can't use another word. It's like they're so easy to fudge this shit and lie about it and cover your ass.
Well, some
Like-
of it, the E part, not as much,
Yeah,
because
the
you
E-
have to, because that can be numerically quantified. I can tell
Yeah.
you that I have gathered data for ESG reports for customers before,
Yeah.
and it
kidding.
specifically was involving energy consumption of computers.
Yeah. And like
And-
the environment one I can understand, but like the social thing, that's like so hard because there's shell companies and smaller companies that you own that you can kind of go, no, that's them, that's not us. I don't know what you're talking
If
about.
you're smart, there is.
Yeah.
There are.
Yeah, it's like the environmental thing, yeah, especially if you have a headquarters in America, we could track that shit real fucking easy. But the social and the governance thing, well, even the governance thing, like what it showed with the Dilbert cartoon, like you could just have someone lie. That's the reason why I was always like, why are you telling this board thing? Like, now that people can identify as a woman and not be biologically a woman, you could have someone be on your board and go, I'm a woman, and they're not. And they just have to say it.
They are biologically a woman, though. If they say they are, they become biologically. That's the key to understanding.
And
The other side.
retroactively, right, Skep?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you even say their name, their old name, that's dead naming.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
Jack,
can be
you
sentenced
were
for that.
Jack was trying to say something earlier when I cut him off. I want to throw it back
Yeah.
to you. Go ahead.
Thank you. I disagree with the entire notion from the get-go. I don't think that a company should be basically making these sort of dictations and trying to make them a universal thing. You shouldn't be able to basically say to all the investment firms, all of you have to develop plans like this. I don't care how good intentioned it is. I don't care if some of the things they talk about have validity. It is just an inherently bad road. It is anti-capitalistic behavior, and
What
it
are
just
some
doesn't
Jack?
end
What
well.
are some of the things that they talk about doing with this ESG business?
Well, presumably it would be the progressive agenda, which would be environmentally related.
I know what the progressive, but it's specifically how do they affect this policy? I'm just curious. I've just never had any experience with it.
Well, neither have I.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said.
I think Jack's objection is on general principle.
okay.
But I would throw it back and say that if I wanted to start an investment fund, and that investment fund is part of right in the prospectus, it says we only invest in companies that embrace certain types of values. I have every right to do that, and my customers have every right to expect that information.
Well, yes,
and the company has every right to say that they're not interested in your investment, and that you're not going to comply with their requests for information. You know, but that's voluntary.
I am objecting to the notion that it becomes standardized.
Yeah, we don't want the SEC, for instance, standardizing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
if BlackRock wants to be full of idiots, then that's their prerogative. But if someone says that all companies should adopt these sorts of policies, I take tremendous issue with that.
Well, does anybody here know much about BlackRock? I'm thinking this would be a Skep or a Serenity thing. Any of you want to raise your hands and know about BlackRock?
I can do the, stockbroker. You have 5 minutes to get ready for something. I can.
No. But they're the ones that bought up a bunch of houses. Remember during the whole pandemic?
Oh yeah.
BlackRock bought up a bunch of houses. Whether they're buying them because it's speculation or they have some agenda that they're going to do with them, I don't know. I can't mind read what BlackRock is doing. But it seems like they've been in the news every other day for the last several years. And they've just become more and more annoying with every passing day. I personally am enjoying the fact that UBS has downgraded them.
Yeah.
I think this is a nice step in the right
Yeah.
direction.
In August of 2021, a former BlackRock executive who had served as the company's first global chief investment officer for sustainable investing said he thought that the firm's ESG investing was a dangerous placebo that harms the public interest. Former executives said that financial institutions are motivated to engage in ESG investings because ESG products have higher fees, which in turn increase company profits. So we see some direct sub-optimization, right there, where they appear to be doing something, but they're doing it for the wrong reason. And probably has a little to do with that. But as somebody who used to recommend investments when I was a stockbroker, if I looked at a company came out and said, we're not going to fully focus on being profitable and marketable. We have this social agenda that we're also going to spend some of our investors' money for. I would never recommend anyone do anything but short that fund.
Yeah. There is a fund that I've invested in the past called the Vice Fund, which is the exact opposite of what BlackRock does. It's tobacco, petrochemicals, military, and gambling.
Yeah.
That's the whole portfolio.
Thank you for smoking fun.
Well, it's
not that I'm recommending anything, but it's the symbol is Vicex, VICEX. If anybody's interested in looking it up,
the FU fund.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this means that, it's very weird because I've heard people talk about nothing but BlackRock, how it's a shadow corporation and it's got fingers everywhere and it's the reason the world is shit. And I've heard all that stuff for I don't know how many months because that's what everybody focused on. And I'm just like, if they were really that good of a shadow corporation, you wouldn't know their name. So I feel like something's about to shift hands, or something's about to happen with there's about to be an Enron thing with BlackRock or something. Maybe it won't happen for a year, but I just have that feeling because for as much as everybody who are tinfoil hats have hyped these people has hyped this thing up, for all of a sudden for them to have their UBS thing downgraded and all this kind of stuff because ESG and it's something smells funky. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like there may be an Enron thing or something that's about to happen with them, and they're about to lose
time to make some popcorn. Time to make some popcorn. That's all I'm saying. Moving forward, this is a thing that happened. MSNBC host admits Biden is draining oil reserve to help Democrats win. NBC host Chris Hayes has essentially said, in a nutshell, yeah, he's doing it for political reasons, but it's okay because we need to keep the bad people out of office. Chris Hayes said, this is Chris Hayes of MSNBC, we find ourselves in a situation where keeping gas prices low is key to preserving and strengthening the future of our democracy. And so here we are, hence Biden releasing oil from the reserves today.
What's like
Go ahead, sir.
this, the student debt forgiveness bullshit, without actually dealing with the problem, because God forbid we deal with the actual problem. The only thing they've done that I agree with is the pot thing. That is the only thing I agree with. But it's like all of this, the mysterious leaking of the Roe v. Wade thing. It's like they keep trying, and if you keep an eye on the numbers, like from every like political polling base, the Democrats are just losing ground, and none of this is giving it back.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that Karl Rove was basically setting policy from the White House, and he was busy banging his fist on the table at every meeting saying, stay on message, right? And so the Republicans got kind of sort of good under Rove of getting people to stay on message.
Yeah.
Now, whoever's got their hand up Biden's ass moving his lips is clearly they've taken this a couple generations forward with a knowledge of communication psychology and all the other little things that they've done. And they've taken this little thing that Karl Rove started and turned it into just this thing that has its way with democracy every day.
Yeah.
They have the press on board. They have all these different pieces of the cathedral on board with them. You know, from the NEA to the National Science Foundation, just et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they have to really screw up to get people to the point where they're like, no, we're just going to chuck these people out. Because they control everything in terms of the message, except for a handful of things like, Fox News and Newsmax? And people
and
like
News
us.
Nation.
I mean, as
Stuff like
bad
that.
as YouTube is, they're actually more free speech friendly than most of the other social media.
That's absolutely true.
And like but that's the thing that makes this really funny is that they're staying on message, but they've picked the wrong message to stay on. Like they're doing democracy is in danger, blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay, you need to stick to you need to counter. And this is the one time I'm going to agree with Kasparian from TYT. You need to focus on crime. You need to focus on inflation. I understand the guy you've built a pedestal up for has kind of exacerbated some of this. I understand that, but then you need to go, Biden screwed up. We agree with you, and then kind of go. But they're not going to do it because they've all doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on democracy, and everybody's going, democracy doesn't matter if I can't put food on the table. Which, if they had played their cards right, they could have used, but they didn't.
I think that the most succinct way I heard it put, and I'm paraphrasing here, is basically, if the founding fathers could think of a better way of maintaining our essential liberties without the use of any democracy at all, or if they could have thought of a better way and it didn't involve democracy at all, they still would have gone with it. Democracy itself is not an essential component of the government as much as maintaining liberty is.
Which democracy is the closest thing we have to keeping that.
It just so happens that and yes, I know America's not technically a democracy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no.
It is only an instrument to achieve the maintenance of liberty.
Yeah.
It is not in itself a principle.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like they've picked the wrong thing. Like January 6th trials have failed. Like they're on C-SPAN now. No one gives a shit.
They're not on C-SPAN 2 yet?
I don't think so. All I saw was C-SPAN, and I stopped reading.
I want to see them get bumped, when some guy comes out with a book or something. That
I
would
know.
be good.
But they're on
We're going to
C-SPAN
cut
too.
away from the January 6th trials right now to talk about this person's new memoir.
And like Liz Cheney wouldn't even fly in. She was on video with them. Like she wouldn't even come in. That self-aggrandizing twat wouldn't even come in. And it's like that's there, and they like we're going to subpoena Trump, and then like other stuff, and like who's the guy who just got indicted the second time? Oh, I can't remember his name now. Yeah, Bannon got indicted the second time, and all this stuff, and it's like, no one cares. You need to get that through your skulls. When people can finally afford to pay for things again, then they're going to give a shit, because then there's freedom to give a shit. Because that's what they don't understand is like, you aren't suffering from this because you have a lot of money, or because you have allegedly insider trading. But normal people are, and you need to focus on what the normies do. Yeah, but it's like they don't.
But it's California. No, I mean, I know people that if you show up at their house and you open the door and they turn on the TV, I can tell you what channel is going to be on that TV.
Yeah.
99 times out of 100. It's going to be MSNBC.
MSNBC.
And they have they're just getting left-wing propaganda on a slow drip.
Yeah.
And it does things to people. And I'm talking smart people, good people, decent people. Really smart people who fall for this stuff.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
I have so many friends like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I wish there was a philosophical way, because when I see people who fall victim to propaganda like this, my thought is that person is not smart. But the thing is that
though.
Well, yes, that's the thing. It's not true, because it's like when you hear about cults, how they'll tell you that the people who fall victim to cults are not necessarily dumb people. A lot of them are very smart, but they have a sort of personality aspect that draws them to this particular thing. And to me, that particular personality aspect is, maybe it's not a sign of intelligence, but it's at least adjacent to intelligence. It's an intellectual flaw that they're not capable of overcoming. And I wish there was a way to quantify that flaw, because as of yet, I don't really know how you would go about doing it.
I have a thing that I've been sort of working on that's about 30 minutes of conversation, which we're not going to talk about tonight, which is relevant to the thing you're bringing up. So I'm going to say, just put a pin in that thought, and maybe we'll come back to it on another night, if that's okay. Let me keep us moving forward. There was this. The Pillars of Creation revealed in spectacular new James Webb telescope photos.
Yeah.
So pretty.
So on the left, we have the Hubble picture, and on the right...
Which is still really pretty.
Yeah. On the right, we have the James Webb telescope.
It's just incredible how the right just looks like reality. I don't know how
like
other
you can actually
how to
touch it. It looks
it looks like something that's
more real.
Yeah.
It also kind of looks like a hand, which is kind of freaking me out a little bit, but yeah. It's really cool.
The middle one looks like a wolf howling.
I can see that too. I can see that.
One of
It
the
looks like a
interesting,
cat. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to point out one thing that you might notice, is that on the left hand, you have what are called diffraction spikes.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that there are 4 spikes coming out of each bright point on the image.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the image on the right.
Six. Because that's the shape of the mirror components, right?
The optics are a lot more complicated, and that's a higher quality image. You can actually see the same thing when you're watching like television, and they have an HD camera. If you look at the shape of the out of focus bright spots, you can count the number of blades in the iris. More blades is more better. So you can a lot of times you can. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the thing that I've heard about the James Webb telescope is that it can take pictures a lot faster. The picture on the left probably took a month, or a couple of weeks to get. That's the way the Hubble does business. Mm-hmm. The picture on the right probably was obtained in about 5 seconds.
Probably a
and
little
that's-
longer than that.
Well,
but
it's not very long though. It's so much faster than the maybe a day. But the amount of performance improvement, it's not just image improvement, it's actually how fast it gets the pictures has changed as well. At least that's
this
my
is actually a fairly wide field image, Skep. So if you were this is probably not obvious to anybody who hasn't used a telescope. When you're using, I mean, I know you have a telescope, but I'm just going to point it out for everybody else. For instance, if you're going to be looking at planets, you really mag up on those things. You don't need a wide field of view. This is a big old nebula. It actually spans a much bigger section of the sky. So this is probably a composite of many smaller images.
Actually, you're right. I wasn't going to, yes, exactly.
But the point does stand. I mean, the main thing about telescopes is that what they are is they're a big light bucket. And what you want is you want a nice big bucket that'll catch as many photons as possible from the thing that you want to look at. And so there's two ways to get more photons more faster. One is to have a bigger bucket. The other is to essentially point the bucket at the thing for a longer amount of time. And either of those things can sort of work. The problem with the time thing is you're dealing with something called dark current, and there's things that happen at the quantum level that can mess with the imager, but then there's algorithms that can factor that stuff out. So if you have a nicer tool, you can do things a lot faster with a lot less work, I think is what Skep's trying to point out. So the science just happens a lot faster with the James Webb than it did with Hubble. Hubble required a lot of work to do an image on the left. That was
I like your analogy
observations
of the bucket, but think of Hubble as the bucket and think of James Webb as 1,000 buckets roped together.
So
it's a big bucket.
In the image on
each bucket is capturing things at various, like, off angle by just a little bit, and that increases the resolution of things as well. Like, yes, we see more, but we also see more better.
What I want to know.
Hold on, Jack. One quick second, then I promise you're next.
Sorry.
The other thing is we're dealing with two different wavelengths of light. Hubble's working in visible light, a lot of which is intercepted by dust and other things in the space between us and this object, whereas the infrared tends to penetrate through dust clouds and things better. So you may be getting more photons of the infrared flavor on the right than you are visible photons on the left, which makes things a little bit easier. Go, Jack.
Well, no, I was just wondering what is causing the cloudiness on the image on the left.
Light pollution from things too far away.
No. That's actually because it's a big dust the nebula is surrounded by dust. That's the whole point of it, is that there's a bunch of dust and matter, and it's clearer and less opaque in the infrared, so you can see more of this structure.
Okay,
hold on, Jack, just quickly. What's refracting off?
Jack,
what's refracting off the matter?
Well, hold on. What were you going to say, Jack? What was it?
Well, no, I was going to say, so the image on the right is we're dealing with more color bands, basically, and that
you're dealing with infrared, and it's all false color anyway. Sorry, Functional. What were you going to say?
What's refracting off of all that stellar matter? Light.
Oh, well, the visible light is being dispersed, scattered through the stuff on the left. The infrared is more transparent to as far as the dust is concerned. So you do see some dust and stuff that's responding in infrared, but more of the light can get through. Did that not answer your question? I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't understand your question.
My question?
Yeah, your question. You asked a question.
It wasn't a question. It was a statement of fact.
I thought you said what's reflecting off of the...
I said light pollution, and you said, no, it's not. And
No. Neither of these are dealing with light pollution because they're both space telescopes.
I have another question that's a little more concrete. How many wavelengths of light is this camera capable of detecting? Because I ask because
it's a trick question. It's infinite.
So it's one of those.
No. Because I see what you
They're
mean.
multi. They're
being an asshole.
Ever so slightly, yes.
Because if you go to satellites that get Earth imagery, it used to be that you would get like either 3, which would be your standard green, red, and blue, or then you would moved on and they got infrared ones, and so that would be 4 or sometimes 5 if they had ultraviolet. And then at a certain point they started doing this thing where they had like hundreds, where cameras were picking up hundreds of different specific wavelengths of light to make different composite imagery. And I'm just wondering if that's what kind of camera was used to get this image, and if that's kind of part of the technique that they use to get it so clear.
No, it's the fact that you're working in infrared that's making things clearer. Also, the more sophisticated optics. The image, okay, this is hard to explain without spending a lot of time.
Sorry.
The photon bucket actually funnels stuff into something called a charge-coupled device. The CCD is part of the imager. The CCD does all sorts of fun quantum things, but when a photon comes in, it creates an electric current. Now, in front of the imager, there's a mask-type device. There are filters that go in. So, for instance, your camera, when you go outside and take a picture with your camera, it deliberately, to make the imager work properly on Earth, will reject ultraviolet light, and the lens itself isn't really all that transparent to infrared. I hope I didn't do that backwards. But the point being that you only want the right flavor of photons at the right frequency going into the imager. So when you're doing science, to get the structure of something, what you might do is look at wavelengths of light that are emitted by specific types of elements in the nebula. So you might look at sulfur as one of the elements because we know that it puts out light at a particular frequency, compensating for redshift. You might look at hydrogen alpha as another one. And then you take these multiple images and push them together. If you're doing terrestrial astronomy, it's particularly important because that gets you past the light pollution. Because you're looking at just something that's like a cleaner, less messed up image coming through the atmosphere. But with a space telescope, you don't have to worry about light pollution because you're not on Earth with street lights and things going on.
So because we know the composition of the cloud itself, we are capable of getting light spectrums that are being reflected or emitted or whatever from the cloud. And that's
chicken and egg. We actually can calculate the spectrum by doing experiments on Earth or just calculating it. Because it has to do with the energies of the electrons in the different atoms. But you have to factor in what's called the redshift, because as the object moves away from us, it stretches the light out, which changes the frequency more into the infrared, which is the point of the Webb telescope anyway. But I'm going to alienate every single person here if I keep talking about space.
Hey,
so is redshift kind of like the Doppler effect?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I have a 5 next to this, by the way. This is how many minutes I thought this was going to take.
You were wrong. You were wrong. Well, although it is apparently the James Webb telescope is a 12.5-hour exposure.
Nice.
That's how long it is.
That's still fast.
I think global warming is responsible for that pillars of creation thing disappearing, and because the picture on the right is newer and you can see it start to disappear. And that's coming from, obviously, man-made pollution.
We could calculate how many Gretas we could place end to end to get from the top of that picture to the bottom. It would be a lot of Gretas.
Yes.
Do you know how much bigger this is than our solar system?
Considering how much empty space is probably in her head, we might want to measure it that way.
How many Gretas fit inside a space cloud?
Okay, so what's the next topic, Harry?
I don't know. Let's see. What the hell? Okay.
Because otherwise we will go for another 30 hours.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We're 20 minutes behind schedule. Go ahead.
If you took all of the atoms in Greta Thunberg's body and stretched them end to end, how long a chain do you think that would be?
Let's find out.
How about we don't say
55
we did?
55.73, wait for it, light years long. You have atoms are really small, but you have a lot of them. It's really an interesting thing. It reminded me of just something, one of those general science things that I saw. I was able to find it. Anyway, yeah. So
okay. So I'm going to give you guys a choice. We can talk about the city of San Jose approving a $1,000 fine for people who don't buy gun liability insurance. Or we can talk about the big stupid line city that they're building in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, I could bitch about the line city for hours. Do the line city.
Okay. All right.
I could do that for days, man.
All right. Oh, wait. Let's see this thing right here.
Horrible thing.
But you know what the line city? You know what?
And dystopian.
Oh God!
You know what the Lion City reminds me of? It reminds me of like old popular science issues where they have sometimes they'd have like a something realistic on the cover, but occasionally they'd have something that's so fucking out there that sorry, I should curse. That's so out there that I just look at it and I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah,
How do we know?
Well, really,
get real.
How do we know Jack
okay,
doesn't listen to other shows that I'm on? Because I cuss like a sailor.
So so Jack, this is maybe something that Skep will recognize. I don't think you're going to recognize it. So, sleazy porn guy Jack Guccione. Was it Bob Guccione? Sorry, Bob Guccione. I'm so bad with first names. I tried to turn him into a Jack too. Bob Guccione formed a new popular science magazine called Omni. And so Omni back in the day is really the magazine you're sort of talking about, because it was like this glossy kind of expensive thing full of science fiction and borderline science fact. And so they would have really cool paint pictures on the front of sort of retro, well, I guess it wasn't retro at the time, but futuristic looking space art. It was actually pretty cool when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I was going to say this.
Omni magazine was actually a lot of fun back in the day. But this is this shows that they've actually started digging holes in the ground. So it looks like they're really thinking they're going to build this damn thing. Sora made a noise. How much do you hate this?
Oh, everything.
Go, Sora, go.
Stupid.
Well, they're trying to build essentially this big, thick, walled city, wall-shaped city thing, right?
The concept is very interesting. I'd love to see a sci-fi movie based upon it, but reality, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Look at this; it's so cool. But I'm like, is this what we want? I don't even know how is this going to be in terms of ecology of the area. I don't even want to touch that because I don't know enough about how they get their water and their energy.
Says it's net
that
zero.
Area. Yeah,
Says
sure.
it's net zero, right? There.
Yeah, bullshit.
Okay.
Slave labor. That's how you get net zero.
They've got good ESG people, but they're already digging holes in the ground, so clearly they think they're going to complete this. I predict it's never going to get done.
Well, you know the palm city, right? Like that's built in the shape of a palm leaf. I'm like, it's half empty. I think that failed, didn't it? They built it, but it's not.
Yeah, bankrupt.
They went in and reorganized in bankruptcy. They've reemerged, but it's a different scope of development, much smaller now.
Well, it's like they did the Palm, they did the World. There's supposedly someone in that area of the world's building a flotilla, essentially. And now there's this dumb fuck.
They recapitalized and repurposed a little bit.
It's just, I mean, okay. Again, it's very cool concept. I will give them that. But how is it going to work? Can you imagine just piling people on top of each other like that? I mean, it already exists in parts of the world, like in India and China, sure, but not to this extent.
Well, as Functional said, and I agreed with him, we do have movies about this. It's called the Dread movie. That's essentially what this is. You're going to be at the bottom of it, no light.
It's a mega city.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're Tower 1 with
like
Mama
a shit version
and all that
of Ring
shit.
World is what it is.
I'm kind of in favor of this experiment because if it works, or hell, even if it fails, But if it works, it would be a marvel of human engineering with great implications for other types of projects thinking upward out in space and in trying to create like a moon colony that's self-contained and these kinds of things. Even if it fails, we can learn potentially what failed, what succeeded, and guess what? Canada, United States, we're not paying for this. So I'm like, sure, have at it, Saudi Arabia.
I understand that, but you really think that we're going to get truthful information from them? That's the problem. I understand what you're saying. I would love a different nation paying for this, where all we have to do is sit back and actually get the information from them. But that's not going to actually happen, not properly. Even if the world sees it failing, if something bad happens or whatever, you only get a fraction of the truth.
It's going to be China 2.0. Like China, like what we find out about the buildings crashing and the bridges falling apart is a small number considering of what a lot of people say is happening. They're not going to admit to this failing. They're not. It's going to be like Palm Island.
Are you talking about China?
Well, I was using China as an example. Saudi Arabia is basically turning into, in this sense, like China 2.0. This is just meant to move money around like China did with all the real estate and move it around and say, oh, investing. Yeah, this is how you get rich. Just invest. And you have stupid people or smart people, depending on what they do with it, who are going to invest and then they're just moving money around or it's laundering money. And this is going to be built by slave labor.
Oh, yeah, you could launder money really well with this. I want to try something. I want to try something that's going to almost certainly technically fail. Let's see how this goes.
Do it.
Can I just say, I am 100% in favor of this project. And I will tell you why. It is because after all of the money gets spent and it all gets wasted on this terrible project, after a few sections of the wall fall over because the geotech on this alone is going to be an absolute freaking nightmare, the richest pricks in the universe will have wasted a ton of money on it, and we will have learned an important lesson, not to give too much power to architects.
Well,
let's see what it is for people who haven't seen this on the previous show. Now I'm going to try this. Let's see if this works. Okay.
Is it a video, or are you trying to do the 3D thing?
Can you hear that?
Nope.
No.
Okay, well, so much for that. I was trying to get my voice-to-text thing to work, but it says, the line is an enormous linear megastructure with mirrored cladding that is planned to run a 170-kilometer stretch across the Saudi Arabian desert. If built, it could house 9 million people. At 500 meters tall and 200 meters wide, it will form a key part of NEOM, SHEMP, a renewable energy-powered region under development across Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt.
And to Jack's point,
not going to happen.
I love the fact that you think the Saudis are actually going to be the ones paying for this shit. They're not.
Oh no, it's not going to be the Saudis. It's going to be the suicidal corporations that will be paying for it.
And it's going to be. I'm not going to mention his name because then it's going to tag us. But a certain person type of people who are going to invest money in this, the smart ones or the underhanded ones are going to use it for laundering money. The stupid ones are going to put money in this and it's going to fail because that's what happened. Like we were talking about with Palm. There are so many people who lost money on Palm. There are so many people who lost money on the world. And some of them do have money to waste, and I understand, like, hey, if you got money to lose the money, but it's like I want to believe as Functional does that this will be a good thing and this will give us the ability to, like, hey, we can build this on Mars or something like that. I want to believe, but
believe.
I know, it's like, I'm going to believe, because it's like, I don't think it will, but god damn it, I'm going to go with Functional side of thought that this is going to be a good thing on some level, and it will be and at least we'll get some kind of happy out of it. We're going to go with it.
Well, who was bringing up sort of sci-fi cities of the future? Was that you, Jack?
Yeah, Jack mentioned it a little bit, and then me and Functional talked about Dread.
Okay, so basically what they used to talk about was this thing called an arcology city. An
Ugh.
arcology is the fusion of architecture with ecology, a comprehensive urban perspective in nature as organisms evolve. They increase in complexity and become a more compact system. A city should similarly evolve, functioning as a living system. To put it bluntly, they want to cram everything together into a giant live, work, eat, sleep mall that people live in, so that most of the planet is just green and you can grow food on it or have forests or whatever. But to take all the people that are spread out and just cram them together into this super efficient eco paradise. The guy who actually started this movement, I think, was Paolo Solieri, and he wrote a book called Arcology, The City in the Image of Man, and I've actually found a thing that has the whole book online. And you can see from some of the chapters what a fine thing this is. Part 1, Utopia. What could possibly go wrong if you're going to start with Utopia? And then part 2, the map of despair, miniaturization, equity, and congruence.
Okay,
This
that's
is-
a fuck you.
The
This is
condition
so
of
full
man.
of postmodern crap. Yesterday's city
The
and tomorrow's
bulb of
reality. Structured performance.
I love
This is Foucault, the MBA.
Residual anguish.
Can I
The
just
organism of 1,000 minds. Arcology, the city in the image of man. This is some chewy stuff. I mean, it's not an easy read because it's just so full of crap.
Can
Go
I
ahead,
just
Skep.
throw something out there?
Oh wait,
Oh, sorry.
who's up? Is it Jack? Go ahead, Jack.
Oh, I once heard someone say that there was an analysis done on most of the languages of the world, and basically it came out that they were able to fit roughly congruent amounts of information within equivalent spaces, so that no language was getting like more information into a smaller amount of space. I have a theory that perhaps mankind has adapted in a similar manner, wherein if you were to try and cram mankind into the most efficient space where we could operate, like, you know, without going absolutely batshit, I think that the way that it has naturally progressed is probably the best way possible.
Okay, whoever said that clearly was not thinking of German nouns or Welsh place names, because if you're looking at the information density on a page of printed text, these are two things that kind of work against you.
5,000
interesting.
constants.
There was an extensive investigation published by Bloomberg that talked about the features of the failure of the NEOM project 5 years after its launch. This was, and this just came out. Bloomberg said the project is going through great challenges, and transforming it from science fiction to reality remains difficult. But they, I want to get to just a couple of sentences where it says, Bloomberg concluded that according to more than 25 current and former project workers interviewed, as well as 2,700 pages of internal documents, this project continues to suffer many setbacks, many of which are due to the difficulty of implementing the prince's ever-changing ideas, as well as the difficulty of confronting the prince, who does not hesitate to imprison many members of his family when they tell him that his wishes cannot be fulfilled.
Exactly.
It says, Bloomberg said in its lengthy investigation that dozens of employees who could not afford a toxic work environment and a culture of unbridled spending for very limited results have resigned. And said, if I wanted to describe the end result of all my work during that era, I would have said that there were proposals and offers that would have ended up in the trash the following week, the agency quoted a former project manager as saying. And it just goes on and on how this thing just was a management nightmare.
Okay, so Serenity, imagine, if you will, we have basically utopian cities, the anime, right? And so in this anime, we've got Brasilia sitting around being chill, and then how do you pronounce this? Noem?
Neom.
Neom.
Yeah, I think it's Neom.
And then
yeah.
Neom walks in the room, and Brasilia is talking about, all of the dreams that Brasilia had when it was young, and whatever, and how it was going to change the world, and then Neom just says, "Hold my beer," and then goes off and tries to. This is like Alex Jones Settlements amounts of money. This is amazing.
No, I remember when Brasilia. That's how old I am. I remember when Brasilia was being built, being hacked out of the jungle, and we were following it when I was in the 3rd and 4th grade. In like 1959, 1960, we were watching the progress as they built Brasilia and how amazing it was going to be. It was going to be the blueprint for all future cities. Those were amazing times.
Yeah. When you take capitalism and all of the things that the market gives you in terms of making good decisions about giving people the things they actually want out of the image, you get places like Brasilia. It's just sort of, we think this is what it should look like. Right. And thus mote it be. They basically carved it out of the jungle, and it's just a complete mess. Because they built a city that hardly anybody wants to live in. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's not fit for purpose.
Exactly.
What's like, unless the mirrors are see-through for this new city, or they let light in or something like that, anyone who's on the bottom is in complete darkness.
Well, they know what they did.
Well, they're a culture of caste system still.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure that was probably considered in that matter, right? Like you've got your slums and your squalor on the bottom, and then you've got
slaves underneath.
Head of the train.
Yeah, basically. Top. Well, it's like, and I'm gonna tie it to some real science fiction shit. It reminds me how when you read about how Coruscant from Star Wars is, it reads exactly like that.
Because the more pollution, the higher they raise all the buildings.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, Functional. If they want to try it, maybe we can learn maybe one thing from their fuck up when it comes. I don't want it to fuck up, but I have a pretty good feeling it is. Hopefully, we learn
of the
something.
mind that we need to do people need to do something, because look at the state. I mean, yes, a lot of it has to do with mismanagement, corruption, et cetera, but a lot of cities are too small for the amount of people that are out there that want to actually live in cities. Yeah, I know people want to live in cities. I know some people do. It's a thing.
Yeah, I know.
But there's nuggets of truth in this kind of bullshit that they're spewing, these advertisements, these marketing ploys that they're trying to get some of these projects off the ground. But yeah, could they be more efficient? Sure. I mean, we made the change from lead pipes to copper pipe.
Cocker.
I was thinking of the dog.
Yeah, I know.
Cocker spaniel.
Cocker. But
so I mean, and we haven't really been building new cities in places. So really. I mean, we need to. There needs to. I just have the mind that something needs to start taking root somewhere, because there is a demand for city life.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like I said, I want it on some level or something to work, but at the same time,
I really do. I'm hoping
the Saudis are so, and this is everybody, but they're so blatantly corrupted in so many ways. And I'm not saying the West is innocent in this, not in the least bit, but it's like, it so reminds me of the shit that was pulled with the mega high rises that China has. Like, I'm just getting that feeling.
Yeah, but I just think that China is kind of its own animal.
It is, but I can see the
China doesn't care about any human life, none at all. Whereas,
they don't.
I think Saudis want to be able to get their name in the annals of history. They want to make more money. They want more control and power over people. So I think on some level, they kind of want something like that to succeed, or whoever else, like Brasilia or whatever. They kind of want something like that to succeed, because then they can, for the right reasons, have their names remembered throughout history or whatever. It's a selfish motivation, but I mean, if one day one of these arcology types of projects work, Cool.
I'm
rooting for you.
Well, it's like I think this if there was a good planner on it, they would have said, let's start small, but build it in a way that we can add on to it.
That it can expand. Yeah. And that's one of the
then
failings of a lot of cities that are older, like mine, and especially New York. And there just isn't enough physical room for the amount of density per square foot or whatever, both human and concrete wise. Like there's just it was poorly planned. It was never forethought way back when these cities were founded that they were going to be as huge as they are today.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, is like it should be done in a way that gives them the ability to build out. Once this way they can
modular.
slowly do the population and do it in small steps. But that's not how you make the money. And I get that. So I understand the reason why they're not doing it that way. But it's like I would have a tiny bit more faith in it if it was done that way. If it was just kind of let's build a half a mile section. Let's just build a half a mile.
Start with something,
Yeah. Let's see how long it takes. Let's see how much energy consumption happens. Let's see how many people are actually interested, and then we will build out from there. But we will make sure that we have the room to build out, and not just, oh, we hit a wall.
Yeah.
Darn it.
I mean, conversely, if Elon was doing a similar kind of project on like Mars or whatever, I'd be part of the first wave of idiots to go. Sure, why the fuck not?
Well, we lose money making every mile of this thing, but we make it up in volume. That's what they're going to tell you, that you have
How
to
do we
build
make our money?
Well, the
We
mega
do
money.
it through volume.
You have to build 170 kilometers of it. So, are we good on this topic? I mean, I personally am looking forward to all of these visions. The Black Hammer City, I want to see that get built. Desperately want to see that get built. I want to see this get built.
Hard to build it when you're in jail.
Does Ghazi Koto in jail?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he
up
went
for
to jail a while
murder.
ago. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he
He's
got
up-
convicted.
Murder.
Wait, it was him? I thought it was like one of his buddies or something.
Yeah, I thought it was one of his buddies.
If
Okay,
he's
we're
not
going to look this up
directly
later. We're not going to research Ghazi Koto
still
right now.
complicit, I know.
We're way too
Not
far behind
important.
schedule.
He's not important.
Okay,
Kidnapping,
Free Black
aggravates
Hammer.
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
They are
but
fucked.
yeah, Utopia is, there's going to be some
Extreme.
sacrifices that have to be made by people who aren't him if you're going to build Utopia.
Mm.
So I assume that all of you guys heard about this thing. Just in, U.S. researchers at Boston University have developed a new lethal COVID mutant strain in a laboratory, echoing the types of experiments many feared started the pandemic. Boston University creates new COVID strain that has an 80% kill rate. I hate to burst everybody's bubble. I'm not saying this was a good idea. I'm not saying this is a good idea, but this is terrible science journalism. I mean, really, really bad. Because this isn't even close to an accurate picture of what happened.
Oh yeah, no, it's like
Panic.
they've done it with every disease. They've done it with the Black Plague. They've done it with a whole bunch of other shit. Like, this is not new, guys. Like, I hate to forget people who are having panic attacks over this shit.
I'd rather the gain of function research happen at Boston U than in China. Just saying.
Agreed.
I'd rather it didn't happen, but it's going to happen. I'd rather be somewhere where I know that there's probably better control measures and safety protocols than fucking China.
And
Well,
plus, they're
that's
on the
one aspect of it.
they're on the
But
same
Sora
continent,
was
I can
saying
shoot them.
something, and I want to get back to her if she wanted to get into this.
Oh no, I was just saying this. Nothing like good panic headline there. Just to
Yeah.
get
Well,
people-
let me now that I've got your attention, Sora,
Fuck
let
you,
me
Fauci.
You always
talk a
have
little
my
bit about
attention.
this. So yeah, they're trying to make this as terrifying as possible. Again,
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that they should have done what they did, but what they tried to do is they essentially took the spike proteins from Omicron and they glued them onto the outside of something that's like the original Wuhan strain of the COVID-19, the one that was really bad. Because we know that Omicron
Literally
doesn't kill
Gorilla
as-
Glue.
Well, we know that Omicron doesn't kill people at nearly the same kind of rate. It's a lot less lethal. So what they were trying to figure out was what about Omicron what aspects of Omicron's differences were causing the decrease in lethality. So they said, well, let's just sort of build something with Omicron spikes and the old OG variant's body and see what happens in terms of how lethal this thing is. So they had these mice that were specifically engineered to have ACE2 receptors, just lots and lots and lots of them. So it's like we literally just poked holes in these things, genetically speaking, so that they were absolutely just incredibly susceptible to COVID-19. This isn't humans. These are specially bred mice. They're just designed to basically die from COVID-19. That's their job. And Omicron
And we
doesn't
salute you.
Omicron doesn't kill
exactly.
these mice because it's fairly mild. But this new thing that they put together killed 80% of these specially designed mice whose only job is basically to die of things like Omicron.
Correct me
And
if
this-
I'm wrong. They had a 0% mortality rate from the original strain too.
Right.
So
of
from
these
0
of
to
these
80, like
of these
that.
special mice, of these special mice. Now, this thing that they've created is not something that if it got loose would kill 80% of humans that got infected with it. If anything, it's somewhere in terms of lethality between the original strain and Omicron. So
Or Omicron. Yeah.
it's not like they created something that's worse than any COVID that's ever existed. If anything, they created something that's like kind of in between the two things. Again, not justifying what they did. Technically, from what I've been able to determine, what they did was actually within the rules, probably. And people are thinking, well, maybe we should rethink said rules ever so slightly, because it's a bad look, if nothing else. The lab that they did this in is a level 3 lab with all of the stuff that you
Hell
would
yeah.
want. And they study stuff way, way, way more dangerous than this
I was
virus.
just gonna say, do you think this
All
is
the
the most
time.
dangerous thing that they study?
Yeah, this is like where you want this stuff done. Again, not justifying it, just saying that the news did a terrible job of doing this. And what I don't understand is whether they intentionally tried to clickbait everybody by making it sound like we're all going to die, or whether they just aren't good enough at their job to figure out what
Yes.
the press release means.
Yeah, I'm with Sora on that. Yeah.
If I remember
which one
right,
was it, Sora? Oh, hold on.
second.
I'll be right back to you. You think it's that they just don't know how to do their job? Okay, Serenity.
well, no, I think if I remember right, I'm not trying to look it up right now, but if I remember right, Boston University has stuff like the worst strain of the Black Plague and all this kind of stuff. This
Yeah.
is like, it's bad. I'm not saying it's not bad, but it's like they have worse shit, guys. Like, they have such worse shit. This is.
I'm going to put the
COVID's nothing.
science thing in the chat if anybody's curious.
I think it's at a certain point it becomes a question of maybe it's not true, but perhaps the lie is worth more than the truth, because frankly, no one would give a crap if they heard it was a different disease that no one had ever heard of. But if they hear that it's the thing that kept them indoors for so long, that might actually cause them to freak out a little bit. And I mean, it might actually affect some sort of change, because obviously there's some significant problems with this system, especially considering that I'm pretty sure this funding is going to, I don't know if it's come out already or if it's going to come out, that it's going to be tied back to Dr. Fauci.
Well, it is the NIH that's involved in all this stuff. So, of course, our angry little health gnome does have his little fingers in this thing. Now, in terms of gain of function stuff, let's just put this in perspective. If we are to believe some of the accusations that are made about the Wuhan lab, right? It was poorly run, leaking like a sieve. There were problems with how they disposed of the animals. The people who work there weren't really all that safe. There's all sorts of opportunities for stuff to get out. This is just what people are saying. I'm
China.
not saying it's true, Susan. Okay? But what we're talking about is literally taking a virus, part of a virus that was in animals that humans had absolutely no defense with, and then merging it with other things to create a virus that's a novel virus that would just kill lots of people. That's like the gain of function stuff. This is them just sort of splitting the difference, trying to figure out why one version of COVID is different from another one.
Yeah.
This is
Just trying
orders
to
of
see how it
magnitude less horrible than what they did allegedly in Wuhan, China at their stupid lab next to the wet market.
Also, their procedures are so much tighter, so much better than what you'll find in, the Wuhan lab.
Yeah. I was just kind of annoyed by the quality or the lack of quality of the science journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did sound admittedly very
Sludshot.
weighted.
Be afraid, people, 24/7.
Was
Yeah.
there
Always be
like did they try to say something like, well, see, now all of you are racist for daring to call it the Wuhan virus when here we are doing the same thing in America? I
Oh,
could
I'm
see
sure
them
somebody will
trying to
do that.
spin that.
It's
Yeah.
too bad they didn't do it in Baltimore, because then if it escaped, we could blame Baltimore for it. I think that would be... Because Baltimore's already got a bad image, I think. So we could just make this be the Baltimore Wuhan flu, or Baltimore COVID.
Baltimore baddie.
Yeah.
Just nuke Baltimore.
It's a city full of Nigels. That's my problem with Baltimore. I mean,
Wow.
Johnson cake and Nigels.
Hard end.
It's true. They have a massive rat problem in Baltimore.
Actually, there was we got crowned rattiest city here. So
Ruddiest?
rattiest.
Oh, rattiest.
Yeah.
Do they have any of the
Wow.
World War I sized rats there? You know, the ones that would attack the soldiers?
The Roos.
And here I thought it was Montreal.
Aha. I have yet to
You
see
joke.
any, but I wouldn't be surprised because they're everywhere. And that's
I don't
because
have
they
any-
forced the city to have green boxes, like compost, but they only pick up the compost every other week. So the amount of rats that started to build up in the city, of course, doubled because they have a smorgasbord
Okay.
available to them. But
Right.
you're not allowed to throw, if you're found to throw food waste, so like, your stuff that could go in a compost into your regular garbage, I think you can get fined or something. I don't know. I'll have
What?
to ask. Yeah. It's a green initiative that started a few years back.
Sorry. I was looking at the Nigel Cat video again.
Oh, the Ratapult. Oh, poor Nigel.
So good. Sorry. Where were we? Okay. Yeah. So I
Rest in
guess we're
peace,
done with
Nigel.
this topic. Let's see. I wanted to complain about the following thing. This is sort of along the lines of, well, the way I see it, of the Great Reset. Now, I actually sort of find off-grid living and tiny homes and all that stuff to sort of be an interesting option for people, especially, for like younger people who are going to nursing school or whatever. Just bring your home with you, right? It makes perfect sense. I don't have an issue with it. But I think far too many people are trying to recast this kind of nomadic, almost gypsy-like living thing as like a positive, virtuous thing. So I wanted to show you part of a video from a channel that I've watched for a while. And maybe it feels like they're kind of fetishizing this weird lifestyle a little bit.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
know if you can hear it.
Good sheep.
Can you hear
Good
it?
boy. Bring him in.
Yes.
Good boy.
Okay.
I can spell them
Homeless
from here.
shepherd
Boy.
shares hunter-gatherer
doing a
diet
good
and
job.
survival
We're
tips.
not having pulled in like 10 months.
So this guy basically lives in that
So you
little
always walk like
wagon
this with them.
thing
I mean, you do the same amount of walking as they do.
and walks around with his sheep, and they just sort of graze on public land wherever they go. And this is where this guy lives. And this woman is talking about this as if somehow this is maybe some model we should all aspire to. It's kind of like how we used to have with the Gnostics sitting in the desert, and people would go to them looking for wisdom as they would just sit there and mumble to themselves.
Right.
Harry, is this the
Sit in
natural?
middle of Peyote Patch.
Harry, is this the natural end state of society in general? Is hipster Diogenes?
Hipster Diogenes, yeah. Yeah, this is the life that we should all be aspiring to. Doesn't this look great? Isn't this what you want your life to be like, Sora?
Oh. Yeah, totally. That looks just
This guy
out of my
looks like
dreams.
this guy
I
looks like he's
admire it.
going
That's
places.
total freedom. That is the ultimate freedom.
Yeah,
He
he's
does
free,
what he
all right.
wants. He lives on his own terms. He's got nobody like to interfere or control him.
I like
and-
his sheep.
I mean,
They're lovely.
yeah, that
If he gets lonely, he's got company.
Oh God.
What? Which thing? The milk or my little comment?
Your comment.
I ignore Harry most of the time.
I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what
try
you're
to.
talking about, Sora. Are you trying to say that I'm implying something? Because I would never.
Oh, you would never.
Look, he eats these poor sheep.
Oh,
but
look at the sheep, though. They're so sweet.
But there are people out there that think this is just like this is the natural way of being, just sort of wandering around with your sheep, living. in
Listen,
your
you know,
thing.
he's not causing any harm.
No, he's not.
Yes, look at that. He got a little Berkey. Got a
Mhm.
Berkey water filter, and good for him. I
Yeah.
hope he's unbothered by people, and they.
Oh,
leave him
absolutely. I
alone.
hope he's living his best life.
But I would not fetishize this. This is not.
Good God.
This is that looks good. Polenta
Yeah.
and kale chips.
Yeah.
Or whatever that is.
I'm not sure why
I'd
he's
eat it.
not live this way.
Yeah. You think your back would be up for this, Skep?
Not happening.
What's
Not
gonna happen
happening.
what's gonna happen to this guy in 10 years? You cannot live like this indefinitely.
Well,
Jack's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
the hope is that he is, for all of him doing this, maybe he does do savings and stuff, and when he gets to the point where hopefully he reaches that by age and not because of illness or accident, that he cannot sustain this because of aches and pains, he's able to maybe retire in a, I don't know, go from this to maybe like a little trailer park where you're still living small, but you're closer to sort of civilization and medical help. And oh my God, look at that! He even has homemade flip flops.
His perception's probably very good. He knows what the ground feels like.
Yeah,
Well, anyway,
that's cool.
I
It's
watch a
how
lot of
no,
these
it's
things.
interesting. It's how some
Yeah.
other person lives.
It's just the weird sort of, well, you don't need things and stuff. Set your goals very low. But I mean, on the other hand, I don't mean to be. I sound like Tim Pool. It's complicated. I agree with Functional. He's not buying into the rat race. He is, in some sense, incredibly free. But at the same time, this is not a model that 99.999%.
No. And I don't think anybody here would want to live like that. But I mean, I admire something like this, doing your own thing like crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
I mean, you're living like your ancestors. Yet, like you said, he's not going to live long outside of society. It's one of the benefits of our modern society is that it's extended our lives. But in 10 years, yeah, he'll probably die from an infected cut or something.
What do you think his percent body fat is?
2?
Admirable.
Yeah. Better than mine.
That part's okay, but he's just one unpacked wheel bearing away from that thing not moving. I mean, it's
You're
like
exactly
there's a
Yeah,
lot of
well,
stuff that could go
a
wrong.
lot of
He's
single points of
one
failure
repair
there.
away from
Right.
repair away from this not working. He's one illness away from this not working. This is not a sustainable way for somebody to live.
He is the single point of failure, actually.
But you know what, Harry? He's never complained about a broken washing machine or a Nigel or rent too high or whatever. He's selling his wares. If you have coin, Dirty Hippie has wares.
Well, I have more weird lifestyle stuff here for you, and this is basically in a thing that I'm just calling extreme diets, because I told some of you that I'm doing this thing where I only eat once a day, and much like the sort of wearing a uniform so I don't have to think about clothing all that much. This is something that Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and a lot of other people have done. It's not like an original idea of mine, but why waste your time worrying about what you're going to wear? Just kind of have a uniform. Easy, jeans, turtleneck, whatever. The 1 meal a day thing has been fantastic, and I really like it. What amuses me is the number of people who are deeply offended / threatened by the fact that I'm not eating the same number of meals as they are. This seems to really bother some people.
Yes.
Does it?
So I started thinking about extreme diets just a little bit. People that are just way more out there than me. And of course, the prototype is Morgan Spurlock in Super Size Me.
Yeah.
So this was it 2004? And Morgan Spurlock decided for 30 days, all he was going to do was go to McDonald's and eat everything from McDonald's for a month. Now, his doctors thought, oh, well, this isn't probably going to be that big a deal. This isn't going to be that bad. I mean, your cholesterol and stuff's going to go up. But Spurlock's month starts off pleasantly enough for one day. On the second day, he vomits graphically out a car window, the camera following every splatter. We put that in for the kids, he explains. By the fourth day, he is complaining about weird pulsing feelings in his stomach. And then his penis. About 7 days in, I start to notice this pressure on my chest. And by day 9, I'm becoming incredibly depressed. This is 9 days of eating nothing but McDonald's, and he's already kind of a mess.
Yeah,
I've become addicted, he maintains. I would eat food and feel fantastic for about an hour, then I'd feel depressed again. About halfway through, he starts complaining of headaches. This is also the point at which we see Spurlock's girlfriend, a vegan chef, tell the camera that he's having a hard time getting it up. Always nice to have your girlfriend telling the world that on film.
God.
Well,
How
soon
tough
after,
is that?
soon after the doctors monitoring his condition stopped treating it as a joke and warned him that his liver is turning to pate. By the end of the month, Spurlock has gained 1/10 of his original body weight, and his cholesterol has increased by 65 points. That's what 1 month of eating at McDonald's will do to you. I kind of feel like my 1 meal a day is not that big a deal. I mean, compared to, somebody like him. So I kept looking, and I found some more things. So here's a guy who ate nothing but beans for 40 days. He ate canned beans.
Oh, dear
He ate
God.
his body
I
weight
saw
in
this.
beans. Okay. He ate, what was it? 80 tins of organic baked beans and tomato sauce, 30 tins of organic kidney beans, 20 tins of organic black beans, 40 tins of 4-bean mix, 10 tins of Mexican bean mix, 10 tins of butter beans, and 1 tin of giant Greek beans. He had very, very low carbs for this whole time, and then decided on the last day of this, he was going to run a marathon.
oh god.
Now,
And?
he actually...
Well, I mean, that's a lot of gas in your ass, so he'd probably fly.
Would that count as cheating? It's
Well,
propulsion.
the comments are as you would expect. When
Pathetic
you go for a
enhancement.
run on a diet of beans, you always have the wind at your back. I'm sorry for any person that had a run marathon behind the guy that has only eaten beans for over a month. This man single-handedly opened a whole new hole in the ozone layer. So, this is actually a really interesting documentary. I should just post this one. People might actually kind of like this.
Incidentally, and I know this from personal experience, never eat raw beans.
Oh,
Never.
no. Don't do that.
They
He's
are
eating
toxic.
canned beans. He's eating
Raw
canned beans.
Yes, raw beans themselves are toxic. Do not eat them.
Well, the point is you can survive on one thing for 40 days. And this guy was, working out. He's an athlete. So, I mean, he's taking good care of himself. But 40 days of nothing but beans, aside from some comedy stuff, for the most part, he was okay. This didn't exactly kill him. And he was originally inspired by reading John Steinbeck, where the poor kids in a Steinbeck story talked about living on nothing. I think it was tortilla flat. Basically lived on beans because that's all they could afford. And
Well,
they grew
that's
up and they were fine.
That was his first problem, was reading John Steinbeck.
So, I mean, this is an example. Still you know, way crazier than me. And in some ways, this is almost worse than Morgan Spurlock. I mean, you could navigate your way through a McDonald's menu and probably not have it be too terrible if you really put some effort in, given the stuff they've added lately. Not recommending it.
They used to have salads here,
Yeah.
which they got rid of during pandemic because they limited their menu, and they've never brought them back. Those were great because if you wanted a meal, you could get like, and this is what I used to love to order, their version of a Greek salad, which isn't really anything to do with that, and you could add grilled chicken on it, and it was really tasty, and it was an actual fresh salad. I really liked it.
Doing a Greek salad. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
And I'm sad they haven't brought them back because it was nice, but not enough people eat it, I guess. And if so many, and yeah.
Well, I have one more for you because I'm basically upping the ante into Weirdville. Okay, so this is this is the final one. This is a man who's only eaten macaroni and cheese for the last 17 years. Only macaroni and cheese for the last 17 years.
He's had no other food.
He has had no other food. In fact, he's so used to macaroni and cheese that if he tries to eat anything else, he becomes physically ill.
Oh, that is gross. Poor guy.
What he eats.
Yeah. I was going to say, he looks like he's eaten nothing but mac and cheese for 17 years.
He's eaten nothing but macaroni and cheese ever since he was a little kid, and he realized this was a bad idea, so he's taken up boxing and is trying to get more exercise and take care of himself. And he is seeing a therapist, but that doesn't change the fact that he's still eating nothing but macaroni and cheese as of the last time I checked.
Velveeta
well, that's the good one.
cheese.
There's a few different kinds of mac and cheese that he eats.
Well, Stouffer's is pretty good.
Florida man.
But his life is actually pretty easy. He just, what's dinner going to be? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get the pan out, put some water in, and 20 minutes later, he's got macaroni and cheese, and he's good.
Why does
he's got his macaroni and cheese, and he can eat it right out of the pot. You just go sit in front of the computer with your macaroni and cheese and just eat it right out of the pan. There's no reason to dirty a plate, Skep. This is very efficient.
That's a great point. In my years as a bachelor, I actually did that. But, he doesn't have appetite fatigue. That's the interesting thing. Why doesn't he have appetite fatigue? Appetite fatigue is one of the best documented features of human behavior surrounding eating, is the fact that if you have the same thing over and over and over again, eventually you will really lust for anything else. You'll even stop eating. I don't understand how. And this guy's doing this for years. This represents a real behavioral problem.
Yes.
This is a psychosis. This is a guy who is psychological.
Supposedly, there's some childhood trauma that explains all this.
Of course.
Yeah, of course there is. I mean, I don't think anybody voluntarily wakes up when they're like 3 years old and says, "Hey, I think I'm just going to eat macaroni and cheese for the next 17 years because that's how I'm going to live my best life."
Yeah, I will. I'm going to share just a brief personal anecdote. My son was kind of like that for about 2 years. He ate nothing but he would drink milk. He would eat macaroni and cheese. And he would eat McDonald's French fries, and he didn't really eat much else for like 2 whole years. He was a funny kid. He had some funny prejudices growing up, but eventually, he diversified his appetite. That's just a kid growing up. This is not that. This guy has done this as an adult. At least a good portion of that is an adult, and I can't imagine a mature adult who. Who'd be satisfied by that?
No. No.
He's different from us.
Can I just say, there is a pot somewhere in his house that has like serious Vietnam flashbacks.
You saying the pot has seen things?
Yeah, that pot has seen some serious stuff. It's been around for like 10 years now, and it's ready to just die.
I've noticed that we've been getting hit with a lot of not copyright strikes, but copyright claims lately on a number of my shows. So I'm being a little more careful about playing the audio. So I apologize for that. But I can tell you that this guy seems like a pretty decent fellow. You know, and
He seems nice. He has a nice smile.
He seems like he's a pretty decent guy, and he knows that there's a problem. He's just not really sure how to fix it. But back to the idea, I mean, in terms of what he's eating, he's getting his calcium. He's not getting a whole lot of fiber at all. That's going to be a problem. But enriched macaroni has a lot of vitamins and minerals added to it. So I don't think his diet is as nutritionally bankrupt as it could be.
He's not getting vitamin C.
He's not getting vitamin C.
Not getting vitamin K. Just go through them real quick.
Oh, actually, I don't know about that. There's a lot of vitamin K in dairy. K2 in particular, there's more of it than in some other sources. But the point being that this is an example of something pretty extreme. So I think my one meal a day thing is really not so bad. I think I'm okay. I don't think I need to apologize to anybody for just wanting to eat one meal a day.
Is that what this whole thing was about, Harry? Showing us
about
the
me.
freakiest person.
It's always about Harry. Come on.
Well, I wanted to find. I wanted to look into sort of weird diets and things, and this is sort of where the investigation left me, and it culminates in a guy who's eaten nothing but macaroni and cheese for 17 years.
Oh dear.
I'm sorry, Sora.
He just makes me sad. I'm glad he's getting therapy.
Yeah, I just hope it actually
want him
works.
to enjoy an apple.
Yeah, don't eat macaroni and cheese as your only food for 17 years, because at age 20 this may seem funny, but at age 30 this is not going to be so funny.
Yeah. Kraft asks that you consume their product responsibly.
I mean, I'm honestly surprised that he isn't sicker than Morgan Spurlock, and I think the difference might be just that he's 20.
I mean, I think that at a certain point your body, perhaps it adjusts to that sort of lifestyle. And so like Morgan Spurlock went from eating nothing but vegetables every single day to eating the most processed food on the planet. There's at the very least there's going to be an adjustment period. So like, because there are people who eat McDonald's all the time, and if you just told them to eat McDonald's every day, I can guarantee you their reaction would not be nearly as bad as Morgan Spurlock's was.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I bet you that if this person adjusted very, very gradually to different foods, maybe they could actually do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just talking out my ass.
No, I agree with you. I think you're making perfect sense. But that's the thing. That's the difference between what Morgan did and what this kid did. This kid basically knows nothing else. His body knows nothing else. And Spurlock was, self-proclaimed almost vegan with the way his girlfriend eats, but ate very healthy to eating garbage, like literal garbage.
Yeah, and
also, just nothing but. If he did it like, okay, I'm for this first week, it's gonna be just lunch, and then the next week it's gonna be 2 meals, and then the week after, then it's gonna be every single meal. But he wanted to show hardcore and exaggerate the effects of just jumping right into it.
Also,
I had hope for this kid.
Also, I have personal beef with Morgan Spurlock. It's because of him that they got rid of the Super Size Me option at McDonald's. And I'm sorry, I don't care how unhealthy it is. Sometimes a man just needs his supersized fries.
Can't you still get large fries? Or is supersize a different, like a even bigger
there's
size?
There's large, and then there was supersize. And supersize was clearly superior. And the large is it doesn't do it for me.
So get 2 larges.
No, that's not the point. It's not the point.
The point is, it was like 20 cents extra, and then you get like 5 pounds of fries or something.
Exactly.
And I don't want to hear from the land of poutine about moderation in French fry eating.
I didn't
I'm
say
not from the land
anything.
of
I was just
poutine.
asking. Size
No one
thing.
here is from Quebec.
Don't they have poutine in Toronto?
Yeah. But don't they have
McDonald's
poutine in
serves-
California?
They do. There's a place in Berkeley. that
There you
makes it.
go.
I know of one place that makes poutine in all of California too.
One is all you need.
That's almost a homeopathic level of poutine.
Oh, God.
So anyway,
That's a terrible thought to have.
so Sora, I think Sora
Yes.
will like this.
Run, Sora.
A group of real-life superheroes sprang into action dressed as
God.
Power Rangers to fight off a man who was attacking a woman in their restaurant.
This all happened at Noka Ramen and Bar in Oakland. Every Friday, the servers there dress as Power Rangers to promote their signature cocktail served in a Power Ranger tiki cup. Well, they were dressed for the occasion when a man followed one of their customers into the restaurant, putting her in a chokehold. All the servers dogpiled on top of the man until police arrived.
Green
And
Ranger
witnesses
wearing a
say even
diaper?
fellow
Oh, no,
customers
it's a
did
bandana.
some morphine too.
Yeah. So basically, what do you
That's
think,
cool.
Sora? I like this story.
Well done.
Yeah,
Finally, something nice out of California.
they've got two pink Power Rangers.
Eh.
And 2 yellow.
I love the fact that the guys are like, we're going to hide our crotches because these suits are too tight.
Yeah, I know.
So we're going to tie bandanas around our lower
Yeah.
six.
I mean, when you're eating,
yeah, no one wants that in their. Well,
nobody needs that.
How is
some
everything?
people may.
I think. Can you imagine the that jackass who was attacking the
Oh,
person?
yeah.
Like you are dogpiled by a bunch of people in like stretchy suits, like morph suits. Like that's embarrassing. I hope everyone made fun of them.
I hope the prison guards, when they took him to jail, were like, "Yeah, this guy got tackled by Power Rangers. Have fun."
Oh,
boys."
this is California. He's not in jail.
They're not going.
Oh,
to
I know. I could hope that.
Yeah, I'm sure he was released on his own
Cognizance.
recognizance. Yeah. I'm sure that he has a date that's set for him to appear. It'll be
That
fine.
he'll never show up for. Yeah.
Oh God, no. No, crime is a real problem in this state.
And no one does anything about it. Well,
Okay, what about this? Record-breaking bony fish weighing 3 tons found. Look at that sunfish.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Look at him.
Harry's favorite
Damn.
fish.
Isn't that what you want, Sora? 3 tons sunfish?
She's taking care of
They
dog.
Another
make
one bites
great
the dust.
pets. They're interesting and fun.
A
Sunfish
giant
are the-
sunfish believed to be the world's heaviest bony fish has been discovered in the Azores archipelago, Portugal, weighing a whopping 2,744 kilograms.
Yeah.
3 tons. Researchers said the animal was found dead, good, floating near Shemp Island in the central northern Atlantic in December.
Harry, you gotta stop saying ship all the time.
Hey, if I
Stop it.
can't pronounce it, it's Shemp. Although
God,
found
yeah.
last year,
It's his
details
party
of
and he'll
discovery
Shemp
have
if he wants
only
to.
recently been published in the Journal of Fish Biology. I worry about people who subscribe to the Journal of Fish
Yeah, I
Biology.
was gonna say.
Hey,
Okay.
don't be mean.
Is anybody a marine biologist?
The Azores archipelago. They
Fish from hell.
but the sunfish eat squid. They eat jellyfish. They're good. They're good little fellas.
I just think of sunfish as being the goofiest looking fish
They
imaginable.
are, but they
The
take on
Bidens of the
squids.
sea.
But they
Really?
Biden's
We're talking about
amazing.
sunfish again?
Yeah.
We are. They
Oh.
found
Oh.
what might be the biggest sunfish ever. It's dead, though.
Stop it, Harry. Stop
He's
it.
3 tons.
Stop it.
3 tons.
Poor
of
He's
baby.
found
fish.
near the Azores.
Wasted flesh.
But he eats jellyfish. That's a good thing.
I hope they cut it up and ate it.
You can't eat.
There's
well,
no
they-
nutritional
They should basically
value.
And
They should basically blockade Australia.
I found a site that tells you how to eat it.
How to eat
Nice.
sunfish.
Way to go,
I'm-
Sora.
Do you want to
I'm
share or
looking
send
up
me the link? Because I'll talk about
sunfish
eating
recipes.
sunfish.
Air fried sunfish, sous vide sunfish with soy and chilies, pan fried sunfish. Excellent, good stuff.
Hold on.
Sunfish.
I will put it in the private chat.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Sunfish.
From a
Okay.
fellowfisherman.com.
You can buy
So-
sunfish fillets, Harry.
Can you eat sunfish? Is it worth it? No.
Pan fried,
No, I
baked.
think we need to change that narrative, Harry, so that more people will want to eat it. We won't eat them, but people
So it
will
has
want
a
to eat
light
them
flavor.
so that we can kill more of them.
Tell me about the flavor of sunfish, Sora.
So it has a very light flavor, similar, pardon me, to that of herring or sardines. It can be eaten raw or cooked, but must be very fresh because it spoils quickly.
Aren't they endangered or something?
No.
Not yet.
No?
Not endangered enough.
Yeah.
So they're a good source of protein and omega-3 fatty acids, of course. They also have decent levels of folate and potassium.
Oh.
Well, that is unusual. Most warmer water fish are not all that high in omega-3 fatty acids, with the exception of black cod and a few others. Usually, omega-3s are found in abundance in cold water fish like salmon.
Oh, would you look at that, Harry? The fish are actually not bad for you. And they don't have a high number of toxins either. See? Sunfish are good. You just have a problem.
You know what are good? Tuna.
What?
They're like the racing cars
Yep.
of the sea, and they're delicious.
But their tuna are being overfished. We need to eat other stuff, so sunfish is it.
And if you fish one that's 3 tons, can you imagine how many people that would feed?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry, get on the
You know how big
bandwagon.
that one
here.
is. You can,
By the
3
time
tons?
you remove,
You mean
by the time
Stacey
you remove
Abrams?
the meat from the bones, there's about 10 pounds of sunfish flesh. It's mostly bone.
Yeah. And the other thing is it'll be spoiled.
You make
Yeah.
you make
You work for your
sunfish
meal.
stock.
Gotta work for
Oh
it,
yeah,
Harry.
you could absolutely make sunfish stock out of it. So this could be an unlucky fisherman's version of bonito. It'd be great.
Mickey. Shh. Sorry.
Even Mickey hates fucking sunfish. Can we get away from this thing?
He'd be scared of it. Oh, this would scare him.
They're so
Yeah.
vile. Hate them almost as much as Harry does.
Let me see. Was there anything else that I was going to show you tonight? I skipped over a few things that we can just come back to later. I don't want to get involved in all this sort of stuff. So I was playing with...
Every part of the sunfish is edible. I'm sorry.
Right.
Every part of the sunfish is in love with its mother?
Damn right. Because it's inbred sunfish.
I think Jack is making a little pun.
Oedipal.
I know.
Yeah.
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 I understand that reference.
Oh. There's a type of sunfish called a mola mola. Ooh.
Well, that's what they call sunfish in like Hawaii.
Oh,
or
okay.
something.
Because they show a bunch of people making them in Japan. That's why.
Harry
Yeah,
knows an
it's the same
awful
fish.
lot about the sunfish he despises so much.
I do. I hate them.
He knows it's
This is
best
super-
practice to know everything about your enemy. You know.
Yeah, this is super villain level of hate. Super villain.
Harry read The Art of War just so that he could hate on the sunfish.
Jack, he has a list of fish he hates.
Yes, he
I
does.
do. I've been working on it. Okay, so I was playing with some AI stuff here. Let's see. And I just put in dumb fish. And so I ended up making some dumb AI fish. There's a dumb fish. There's another
Aw.
fish that I hate. And then this is my favorite dumb
That one's the
fish.
weird
I love this one.
That one's like, what the fuck is up with its mouth? What is that?
This is
What
a
is
good
that?
fish.
Yeah.
This is a nice fish.
You think that's a nice fish? He looks a
He's
little
not the
derpy to me.
sharpest knife in the drawer, but he's cheerful.
Sorry,
you
that's
know?
that's a not the slurper spoon in the drawer.
That's a fish that rides the short bus.
That fish has got a bad feeling about this man.
That's a Greta fish. I should be in school.
Like, go be in school, bitch. Should.
Yeah, but I was playing with it. I was trying to see if I could come up with like a 1970s talk show set because I'm trying to come up with some new graphics for the show. And so I just typed in 1975 talk show set, and it came up with this,
That's
this,
nice.
and this is just AI generating this, which is kind of cool. That with some
Ooh, I like
derpy
that one.
person there. And then this, which is apparently we're doing a talk show in space, which is fun.
I like
Hey,
the
man.
first one.
Yeah, I like the
this
first
AI
one.
art stuff is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was showing this to some people after the last show, but I think maybe the chat in general might find this entertaining. So somebody was playing with this stuff, so they
this.
wanted to have an AI art of salmon in a river.
Yeah.
doing,
really good.
doing this. Like, there it is.
What? It's salmon.
So
It's
majestic.
salmon is swimming upstream. Look at it jump.
Going up to spawn and die.
Yeah.
Have you seen
No, what?
someone posted the a GIF of the AI
GIF.
generation of the evolution of man?
Hmm?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
That's really creepy. I'll try to find it. It's really cool, very creepy.
Oh, please do.
I'm just imagining a bear seeing this, being like, "What the hell's going on here?"
Well, like I said after the last show, I was like, now someone needs to do a superimpose like a stuffed teddy bear in as the bear catching the salmon, because that would be funny to me.
It would be. I would enjoy
Just
that
say,
quite a bit.
It all eats.
Here, I found it on 9gag. It's on the private chat.
Okay.
Ooh.
Puppy link.
There is music if you click the unmute. It's just like some creepy electronics type of stuff, but it's not necessary. It just makes it you feel it more ominous. But
Okay. Human evolution generated by AI stable vision.
Why is there 3 legs? Oh, good. We lost our 3rd limb. Good to know.
it gets
Oh,
cool.
oh, God.
Ah,
Oh, Jesus. That's a Cthulhu level shit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a little
Yeah.
face down there in between the little buggies at one point. And then we're just all pieces on a
We
Wow.
went from monkey to 00100. You know. Isn't it cool though? I really
Dude.
like it. I
Yeah,
love
liked
it.
too.
that
I
is pretty
enjoyed it.
cool. That extra leg is a bit off-putting, but yeah, because we basically went from the Crusades to William Gibson pretty quickly there. And then it all starts to get very, very strange. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, thank
we
you for
just
that.
become
You're
sucked into
welcome.
the peripheral.
Dream about this.
Ah,
Mm.
holy cow.
Dream.
And we become
Think of
nodes on the circuit board.
So,
That's how we are anyway. We just have delusions of grandeur.
any final thoughts tonight, Jack?
No.
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 Okay.
I
Functional.
was caught off guard.
What about you, Functional? Got anything?
Now, Harry, did you hear about this one?
Uh-oh.
Tell me, are you locked in the punch? Hey, Harry, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby. Are we having fun?
I was sorely tempted when they were talking about the Azores to talk about a limerick, but I'm not going to throw that away. It's too precious. I know a limerick about the Azores, but
Is it
that's
dirty?
going to be for another show. Oh, very, very dirty.
I was going to say.
Okay.
Probably.
Skep?
I will leave you with the words of Teddy Roosevelt. If you could kick the person in the pants most responsible for your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month.
No kidding. Sora?
Wishing everyone a good night, and also go watch Jack's box stream tomorrow.
Clippers United.
Yeah, plug your thing, Jack.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jack.
yeah, Quippers United. If you want to take a break from the monotony of the pain of everyday life,
Take
be
a break
sure to
from
come.
monogamy. What?
You can
More
watch
like
other
polyglamorous.
you can watch other people and feel better about your own life.
Yeah. That works for me.
That's it.
Serenity?
Nah, I got nothing. Sunfish
You
are
got
cool.
nothing?
And Pluto's a
No, they're
planet.
not. Well, this has been
Yeah.
your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday night. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon. Good night, everybody.
Pluto's a planet.
No, it isn't.
Bye-bye.
Yes, it is.